Nobody likes to say they'd support higher taxes. One of the things I hope everybody remembers is taxes are paid by everybody. As I sit in a leadership capacity and have to make those kinds of decisions as to whether to raise taxes or not, I'm raising my taxes, my kids' taxes, and my parents' taxes too. I recognize that and understand that. And I know that there's a broad range of ability to pay taxes and lack of ability to pay taxes. It becomes a real difficult issue. But in order to maintain the things that we do as a city, the reality is that many times taxes do need to be raised. The state a number of years ago determined that the most we could raise any given year would be 3%. That 3%, as we start looking at it in real value, is not a lot of money. As a matter of fact, as I recall, it's somewhere between the $7 and $8 a year that would be added to taxes on a $100,000 home. Now, that being said, there are folks in our communities that $7 to $8 a year is a really big deal. I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of our elderly, and I know that many of them, if they receive an increase in anything, $7 to $8 a year, they need to go to somebody and get some help. They don't have a way to bring that. So we need to recognize that there are those kinds of challenges, but we also need to recognize on the other side, to maintain the services and to maintain, we talked about the streets. They have need. That costs money. In order to maintain the things that we have, there are obviously going to need to be increases. My attitude towards those increases is that they should never be more than are needed. I remember many years ago when the 3% initiative happened and when the legislature decided to act on that. Some of the discussion that was had at the state level was capping at 3% because many of the legislators were either acting city councilmen, acting mayors, or had been. They recognized the issues the cities had to deal with. And I remember the discussion being that they felt like a 3% increase was probably enough to take care of the need. So as I recall, I think that was their intent, is that we probably would take around a 3%. Now that doesn't mean you're required to by any means, and I don't believe that you should if you can't show need. But because of the limitation of that 3%, I don't see that our taxes will ever be raised in a huge way. And again, as long as we work together on that and make sure we're taking care of the needs, I think taxes won't go up any more than they absolutely need to.
I think there's other ways that we can get our services, keep our services. We have a good budgeting system, and I think that could be revised. That would be one of the things that I would want to do, is revise our budget to prioritize the things that we want and need, and try to stay away from burdening the people of Chubbuck that they don't have to have their taxes increased.
Let me just say again that I'm grateful for the opportunity of serving in our community. I've served in the community of Chubbuck for a lot of years and have enjoyed every minute of it. I'm grateful for the citizenry of Chubbuck and the way that they work together. We've had a lot of people who have come forward with fantastic ideas, and I'm so grateful for those. It's really easy to see problems, but sometimes it's a little more difficult to see the solution to those problems. I believe that we're being very proactive about taking care of the problems of our city. And I believe that as the acting mayor, that I have some very wonderful ideas that will help us to increase that capacity of our community to come together and to grow. I recognize that when you are elected to a position, that is a great public trust, and that trust needs to be taken very seriously. I believe that elected officials are servants, not masters. It's imperative that we be very in tune to the electorate, to those who have put us in place to make decisions and choices that affect each and every one of us. I want you to know that as your mayor, I will take that trust very seriously. I'll make sure that things are thought through thoughtfully, appropriately, that all sides are listened to. One of the things that I've learned about leadership in many years of capacity of leadership is that it's not a good idea to come to any particular given situation with your mind made up. It's important to open your mind and listen to the attitudes, the opinions, the experiences of other people. when you do that, you're not just relying on your own experience. You're broadening that experience to an entire community. And many times that's where the answers are going to be found. As communities come together, you're going to see things in a totally different light than I would. And it's imperative that I listen to what your experience is, what your attitude, what your opinion is. And then that decisions are made based upon those kinds of facts. Again, the city of Chubbuck, I think, does a really good job doing that. I would encourage the citizens of this good city to be involved. Get involved. There's so many ways to be involved to promote our city and to see that good things are happening here. I think one last thing I'd like to say is how important it is that we make sure we give proper attention to our youth. They are our future. They're the ones that we need to build. They're the ones that we need to build around and for, and recognize that what they have to say is very important too. Sometimes we have a tendency not to listen as closely to the younger people, and I think it's going to be imperative for us to find ways. And I've had the opportunity during the last couple of years to participate with the Mayor's Youth Committee, and just excited to see young people get excited about coming in and making a difference in our community. I believe that as we come together, we can continue to help Chubbuck grow and continue to make Chubbuck be the friendliest place on the earth. I'm just grateful to live in an area where that kind of friendliness and neighborliness is the standard of the day. I again ask for your vote in this coming election and express appreciation for all of those who do become involved and make a difference in our community. Thank you.
I think Chubbuck is a great place to live. I've enjoyed it. I grew up here, but I was away for 30 years and came back 4 years ago. And I found that it's a place that has grown, and it's to my liking. I just think there's things that we can improve on, things that we can take that we now have and build upon them. I love living here. I like the country part of it. I like the city part of it. I like where we're right in a crossroads. We can go anywhere that we want. Nationally, when I travel and I tell them that I'm from Idaho, they get me confused with Iowa instead of Idaho. And so I get to explain to them that we're right in the center. We've got Yellowstone Park to the north. We've got Jackson Hole. We've got Sun Valley, the Salt Lake area. We can do just about anything that we want to do here. I love sports. My interests is just about any kind of sport. In my leisurely time, I like to restore old cars. And the environment in Chubbuck gives me those opportunities to do the things I want to do. And yet I can still travel out of here and get to where I want to be. I think we need to make this more of a destination place, what people want to come here, and we need to offer those things that will attract them, their businesses, and their families.